All right, everybody, we're back with a draft reaction show. We're down one man. Jason has officially been put on IR for the foreseeable future, along with Malik Mustafa. We'll talk about that in the draft after this.
I think we should say he's on the pup list rather than IR. He's got a designation to return. I hope we can open his practice window here in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, if we IR him, he can't come back for at least 4 shows, and we
Yeah,
don't want to do
that's
that. So
right.
we'll say he's pup and with the designation to return.
Yeah, very good.
And Jason, if you end up watching this, just know that your back injuries is going to be something you just deal with now for the rest of your life.
Oh, poor
That's
guy.
just life now. Get used to dealing with back pain and how to move around it, how to navigate it, how to limit it. But it's just going to be a part of your life now.
Cruel dose of reality coming from Ryan right off the bat.
It's the truth. Once the knees and the back starts hurting, it's kind of just living with it at that point. It's life as a man. Unfortunately, you don't ever go to the doctor and get things fixed. You just kind of deal with it for the rest of your life. Um. Okay. Do you want to touch on Malik Mustafa real quick? And do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, it's
I mean,
unfortunate.
yeah, just like how did it happen? I got my update from you. It like totally came out of the blue,
Yeah, Jason was the one who saw it first. It was
Yeah.
apparently it was in the last game of the season against the Cardinals, and there was a play I was seeing going around on social media where he runs and makes a tackle, and then he's like kind of extending his leg and he's rubbing his knee, and he's kind of looking at the sideline, and he can tell something's wrong, and that was it. Didn't
Did,
look like too much, but apparently he hurt it in college and he re-injured it now in the NFL.
so was it just kind of kept under wraps this whole time and they were like it got addressed right after the season, or did they think it was something else? Because as you know, I have suffered a torn ACL myself and I was rehabbing it as a sprained knee for like 6 to 8 weeks before I finally got my MRI and found out what it was. So hopefully Malik was able to get it diagnosed much quicker and get it addressed much quicker.
From what I understand, they knew what it was, and he had surgery, and he's recovering. They
Good.
knew it back then, and they've just kept it under wraps because they probably didn't want people knowing about free agency or draft plans, and oh, they got to replace Mustafa. They got it kind of makes sense. So you think about free agency, they signed two veteran safeties, and now it's like, oh, those guys are probably going to be playing pretty early. They knew that.
I mean, he's a young guy, and if not knowing any details about it, if his rehab's been going well, he can still get back early in the season. I'm not saying necessarily week one, but if it did
October
happen
maybe.
in the last game, I mean, there's no reason to think that he's like on the shelf for half the year or more. But who knows? I have no information.
Yeah, I don't really either. I'm hoping he can be back before Halloween. That'd be cool.
What about? I know he's not a Niner anymore, but what about Dre? Like, it just sucks. Like, yeah, I
Poor
I
Dre.
I
That's
only want
crazy.
I only want good things for Dre Greenlaw.
I know, so do I. that that sucks. A torn quad. I don't even know. I wonder what he was doing to do that. I hope he was like working out at the Broncos facility because then they'll take care of him. But if he was out like playing pickup basketball or jet skiing or something, they're gonna be like, "That's on your own time and your own dime."
I
Yeah,
sure
sounds
hope
cold.
not. Like I hope, like you said, I hope they take care of him. He's supposed to be this new leader of their defense and everything. They can still benefit off of having him around, but I don't know what the recovery is for something like that. I mean, is he out for the whole year?
I don't know. I was just gonna say the same thing. I wonder if you'd rather just like tear your ACL because it's like, well, I know I'm out like 9 months, maybe 10, maybe 8, but probably about 9 months. A torn quad, I have no idea.
I gotta think that it's pretty bad. I mean, like Hargrave he missed the whole season because of a torn, was it a pec or
Bicep.
a bicep? Yeah. So a quad seems like it's even more important to a
It's got to
football
be one
player.
of the biggest muscles in your body. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor, but
See, we're showing our real expertise here when it comes to healthcare and football injuries, right? So
This is why people watch the show for our expert
that's right. That's right.
football injury analysis. I hope,
Well, I just feel bad for him though. That sucks, man.
yeah, I hope he can come back. But like ripping your Achilles and ripping your quad, tough to say you're ever going to be the same player ever again.
I know. I
That's,
know.
oh, I'll say this. He only got 1 year worth of guaranteed money from Denver. And if at the end of this year, if they're like, man, that injury screwed him over, it's not worth it, we'll cut him. Come on back, Dre.
I know.
Come on back to the red and gold. We'll see. All right. Draft over the weekend. Niners picked edge rusher out of Georgia, Michael Williams. I'm still not sure if it's Michael or
That's
Mikel.
I think it's Michael, but I guess I'm not
I've
an
I've
expert
heard
there
both,
either.
but I usually hear Michael Williams. 6'5", 260, SEC all freshman team. Played in 15 games his first season. Second team all SEC in 2023. Second team all SEC in 2024. Um, Tied for the team lead with 2 forced fumbles. Played 12 games, 21 tackles, 8.5 TFLs, 5 sacks, PBU. Played through an ankle injury. Um, What'd you think of this pick? Did you like it? Did you not
I
like it?
did. I really liked it. I mean, once the board was kind of falling the way that it was, I mean, we were texting. We weren't able to like be like together watching or anything. So we were texting as we went, and I think I sent you and Chasen the text saying like it was maybe a few picks before when I was like, well, based on this, my top choice would be Michael Williams. Like, if he's still going to be there, not necessarily because I'm like, oh, this guy's got superstar written all over him or anything. I sure hope he does. I'm not saying he
Yeah.
doesn't either, but it just felt like the best value that you were going to get at that spot, position wise, player wise, like you just named off how he's been all SEC for like what 3 years in a row
3
now.
straight years.
Yeah, he's obviously produced. He's played in a big time program in big time games.
He's
Um,
only 20.
yeah, I know, and that was the other thing I liked that his age was he's as young as he is. So yeah, when things started coming together, I was like, he makes the most sense. I'm not saying that he's got the highest ceiling of guys, and there were other guys we were talking about, other guys that I like too at 11, um, that might have higher ceilings, but I feel like he made the most sense and he was the best value. And yeah, I mean, if he can be even just a solid starter, like let's say he never becomes a Pro Bowler, but he is a solid starter that you can rely on to stay on the field and do his job and make plays. That's going to be wonderful to have that guy locked in, cost controlled for 5 years, opposite Nick. I think it was really really good, and I love the pick.
Yeah, they said, John Lynch said that Chris Kasarik said he's the best edge rusher in the NFL. He's like a really, really good run defender. That's his specialty. And his pass rush is okay, but because, like I said, he's 20 years old, I'm guessing there's quite a bit of room for growth there. So if he can come in right away and just stop the run, that's like a really, a really good addition. Even if he only has like 3 or 4 sacks next year, who knows? By year 3, he could be just a double digit guy, just 10, 12 every year.
And honestly, he doesn't need to be, right? Like
Yeah, he
he
doesn't.
can be a success and really really help this team without being a double digit sack guy. We've got the double digit sack guy on the other side. So do your job on your side. And but you're right. He could get there. I'm not saying he shouldn't or won't or whatever. I just think it's a really solid pick, and I was very happy with it.
I was very happy with it too. Um, Jalen Walker was the only guy on the board who I was like, I'd be really happy if the Niners picked him, which was Michael's teammate.
Hmm.
Um, Other than that, I'm trying to think because like if you are going to criticize the pick and say I don't like it, well then who did you want? And I like the pick. I don't love the pick, but I can't really think of like Walter Nolan went 16 to the Cardinals. That's a good pick for them. Kenneth Grant went 13 to the Dolphins. That's a pretty good pick, even though it might be a little early. And then the Niners still got, and we'll talk about their other two defensive tackles, but I kind of had a feeling they would go edge rusher first because the premier edge rushers dried up pretty quickly.
Yep.
Like by the end of the second round, they were gone. Whereas there was defensive tackles throughout the draft. So
I'm
get
trying to
the edge
go.
rusher early. And what was
I'm
that?
trying to go back to our text just to see if I can see who else we were talking about there.
Yeah,
So
I don't. I mean, what's funny is like we did our big board and we had Will Johnson on the big board, and who knew he was just gonna tumble?
yeah, I think after Mimbu got picked is where I said Michael Williams, Walter Nolan, Jalen Walker, Will Johnson, Tyler Warren in that order. That was what I said at that time. So, however many picks it was before the Niners when Mimbu 6, 7, somewhere in
7
that.
to the
Yeah.
Jets.
So, yeah, that was my list at the time. So they took the number one on my list. He made it 4 more picks, and I was very pleased.
Yeah, I saw a lot of the mock drafts I saw was Carolina picking Michael Williams at pick 8. I saw him and I saw Jalen Walker quite a bit. And then when they went wide receiver with Tedero McMillan, I thought, okay, that's interesting. That's going to push one of those guys to the Niners. And then the Saints really kind of Kelvin Banks, like I don't. You want to watch Michael Williams highlights? You can find him kicking Kelvin Banks' ass repeatedly in the game against Texas. So
Yeah.
I didn't love that pick. And then the Bears picked Colston Loveland over Tyler Warren, which was
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
And
I
it was
saw
like,
that
whoa,
too.
now
Yeah.
we got both guys that I want right in our lap. So
Well, I know it was later, just talking about draft surprises, but also the Ohio State backs going in the order that they went. Like I
mm-hmm.
mean, I think that they're both really good, but yeah. Anyways, there was definitely some surprises, and I feel like the fact that the teams ahead of the Niners did what they did really benefited the Niners.
Yeah, it did. And John Lynch did say they were thinking about trying to. They actually made calls to try and trade up.
Yep.
I wonder if that was to Carolina or to New Orleans.
Yeah.
Not sure. All right. Round 2, pick 43. Alfred Collins, defensive tackle out of Texas, 6'5", 332 pounds. He's been in college for a while. Played 10 games in 2020, 12 games 2021, 12 games 2022, and then in 2023, honorable mention, all Big 12. Had 22 tackles, 2 sacks. Most recent year, second team AP All-American. Started all 16 games, 55 tackles, 5.5 tackles for a loss, 1 sack, 7 PBUs. He gets his big long arms up and knocks a pass down, 1 forced fumble, and a blocked kick.
Nice.
They have a miscellaneous stat right here on his mother. Benita Pollard was a women's basketball letter winner at Texas from 1990 to 94.
Sweet.
So athletics run in the family.
So how old is he?
Good question. Let's find out how old
Not
Alfred
that
Collins
is
is.
going to matter all that much. And so while you're looking that up, I'll just say my reaction to him is I he wasn't somebody I was like keyed on going into the draft, so I wasn't like studying up on him or anything, and couldn't have even told you like anything about him other than he's big. But I love that he's big.
Huge.
I
He's
love
bigger than big.
Yeah, I love that they took a big D tackle. That I
Yeah.
love the size that he has. Also coming from a big time program, I feel like that's got to say something, about the type of player he is and the environment that he's been in that I think will translate. Um, I don't think they're drafting this guy to fill up the stat sheet in any way, right? Like he's going to have a very particular job, and it sounds like he's got the credentials to do that job. So I like it a lot. I don't know that you're gonna be hearing anybody talk about him for like Rookie of the Year or Pro Bowl or anything, but maybe hopefully I'm wrong about that. But I think he's like the meat and potatoes kind of guy that you need, and I got no problem with that pick.
No, I like this pick too. He's going to be 24 in October. He has an 85-inch wingspan.
Wow. Wow.
It's huge. It's taller than he is. That's like I mean, am I wrong? Is that's like a 7-foot wingspan?
Yeah, 84 inches would be 7 feet. Yeah, so he's just over it. So yeah, he's better be getting those PBUs.
Yeah, that's crazy. Crazy. So yeah, he's massive. He's essentially Chris Jones's size, drafted right around the same time. That was kind of the like, if he reaches his potential, he could be Chris Jones. Of course, that's a pretty lofty comparison, but
Sure, yeah.
I really like the pick. It's just like a clog up the middle, eat up double teams for lunch, and let Nick and the outside rushers rush. And maybe more importantly, keep the offensive linemen from climbing to the second level and blocking Fred
Yep,
and new linebacker Nick Martin and those guys. Because that's one of the reasons why the Niners got ran on so much, is because their defensive tackles couldn't hold up.
yep.
And Fred's getting blown up by guards, and there's not much you can do at that point if you're Fred Warner. So I really like the pick. I'm sure Kyle was stoked to draft a Longhorn.
Yeah, it seemed like it when I watched the
Yeah.
video of them doing on the phone call or whatever.
hmm Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about Alfred Collins. I will say I saw him like, and this doesn't really mean anything, but I saw a lot of mock drafts. Like he was the third round guy,
Hmm.
for whatever that's worth. But whatever. If you love a guy and you can get him and he ends up being good, then who cares where you pick him?
Yeah,
You know, a lot of people said that the Niners overdrafted Ricky Pearsall. He should have been a mid-second round pick. Well, the Niners don't pick till the end of the second round, and if he's not going to be there, then just take your guy.
that's right. That's right.
All right, so that's Alfred Collins. So far, I would say the Niners are having an A draft.
Well, and I also love, I mean, there's more of this to come, but I love the focus on defense. I mean, you guys know that that's what I was saying for a long time, especially defensive tackle. Um, and I feel like Michael could actually slide inside if he
Oh
needed
yeah,
to. So, I mean, yeah, I was all about it. I was like, yes, the first two picks are exactly what they need to be. Load up that D line.
you know what could be an interesting Michael Williams comp would be Eric Armstead.
I've heard some comparison. I don't think he's, got the same size, of course. And
No, not quite,
yeah,
but he's big and he's a run stuffing edge rusher who on passing downs you could put him over guards on the inside and he could destroy people.
yeah,
And that Eric was at his best pass rushing on the inside. Not so good outside. Hopefully Michael can be a better outside edge rusher.
yep,
But yeah, I right now it was so clear once they picked Collins and then Michael, it was like, oh okay, this draft is all about stopping the run,
yep,
and
yep.
they're not going to be shy about it at all.
Well, and so the next pick you could say has the same thing. I mean, I don't know much about any of these guys, so I don't want to act like I'm some college scout that can tell you what they, can and can't do. But from the limited stuff that I've seen about Nick Martin is that he is just fast as hell and can get sideline to sideline. Um, I'm sure that they're hoping some of that would show up in coverage as well, but I gotta think that that's another one where it's like go chase down the ball carrier.
Yeah, and of course we're talking about Nick Martin, linebacker at OK State, 5'11", 220. He's undersized. Again, like in the mock drafts I saw, he was kind of a fifth round, sixth round guy. So maybe a bit of a reach here, but dude, if this guy ends up being 80 or 90% of Dre Greenlaw, then who cares? And that's
Mhm.
kind of what they need. They need a starting will linebacker. I will say I heard I was listening to Matt Barrows, I think, talk, and he was saying that there were two tackles that the like mid-round tackles that the Niners had met with, and they both got drafted. I think both by the Raiders, like bang bang, right in front of the Niners, and then they ended up picking linebacker Nick Martin. So there's a chance that those two tackles who had met with the Niners and the Niners had done a little work on, there's a chance they got sniped, and that's why they never ended up getting their tackle. But let's see. Nick Martin, redshirted year one, played 13 games as a backup special teams. 2023 first team All Big 12 conference, ranked 7th in the FBS with 140 tackles. See ball, fine ball. Led the team with 16 TFLs, tied for the team lead with 6 sacks, team captain. 2024, only 5 games. I know he missed a lot of the season with an injury. In those 5 games, 47 tackles, 7.5 TFLs, 1 sack, 1 PBU. Missed 7 games to a knee injury. So there is a clip going around on social media of Xavier Worthy, the fast wide receiver
Yep.
with the Chiefs. When he was in college, he got loose and Nick chased him down and tackled him. So Nick is fast.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I saw that same clip.
Yeah, so I like the pick. I would say it's maybe a little rich. Maybe they reached a little bit, but if big Alfred Collins and CJ West and these other D tackles can keep offensive linemen off him and he can just roam, I bet he's going to be a good player. I bet he's
Yeah,
going to beat up D winners right away.
I think that they probably could have gotten better players, right? Instead of Nick Martin, or higher graded players, like you're saying, in that spot. So, I guess if you're trying to evaluate how did they do or whatever, you do need to take that into consideration. But honestly, thinking about just what they're trying to do, like what they're building with their defense, and like you said, it became so obvious that this is about stop the run and get
Mm-hmm.
back to some basics, I would say, of 49er football. I have no problem if they're taking their guy, even if some say it's an overdraft. So, oh, you drafted a linebacker because he's a little undersized, but he can fly. I'm okay with that. Let's give him a shot.
Yeah, he doesn't have to play the mic in the middle, so he doesn't have to be super big. I mean, as much as I would love a bunch of Patrick Willis's flying around, those guys don't really exist anymore.
Yeah.
And if they do, it's like Jalen Walker, and they're like, you're actually just going to be an edge rusher, not a
Right.
linebacker.
Right.
It's crazy what the NFL is going to. It's all about speed now. Like
Well,
guys like Nick Martin would be a strong safety 20 years ago.
exactly right. He would have been. Yeah, it's funny. It's a lot about speed, like you're saying, until you get to the trenches, and then it's like let's make him as big as possible. Which I know is not like it's revolutionary or anything, but yeah, it does. It seems like there's more extremes, not the guys in the middle anymore.
Mm-hmm. All right. This this was probably another reach too. I'm not sure about this pick. Pick 100, Upton Stout, corner out of Western Kentucky, little guy, 5'8", 181. Played 8 games in 2020, redshirted in 2021. Interesting. 2022 honorable mention All Conference USA, tied for the team lead with 4 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown. 2023 played 7 games, 29 tackles, 1 TFL, interception for a touchdown. Yeah, this guy picks the ball if he knows how to find the end zone. And then last season, first team All Conference USA, started 12 games, 52 tackles, 7.5 TFLs, 1 sack, 1 pick, 1 PBU. I don't know. Is best case scenario, this guy's the next K1 Williams. I'm not sure what the plan is. So does this mean they want to try to fit this guy into the slot and Demo's just going to be an outside guy so they can keep him on the field more? Because I think Demo's at his best when he's in the slot.
Yeah, I don't know what it is either. Well, I feel like one of the instant analysis things I saw talked about this guy's special teams value. Um, I don't know if you're drafting a fourth rounder to just be a special teams player,
I would hope you can get more than special teams out of a
or
fourth
actually,
round.
this was still
Third
third
round.
round. Yeah,
Yeah,
third round.
pick
I
100,
mean,
third
it was
round.
right towards the end, but yeah, this was still third round.
This is Jake Moody range right here.
That's right. Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know enough about him. I don't
Me
like
neither.
I don't like the size. I will say that. So
And the Niners like big corners too, so it's kind of surprising to me.
yeah, it would be interesting to know what they envision.
Yeah, It's interesting because they have the fifth rounder they drafted 2 years ago, who fumbled in the Super Bowl. I always forget his name.
Fumbled in the Super Bowl. The guy that the ball went
Or
off his foot,
yeah,
Luter.
Luter. Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
like he's a good corner, but so I wonder if they're going to give him a chance to. I mean, I'm sure they're going to give everyone a chance. That's what training camp is. But I wonder if he can
yeah.
seize his opportunity and become a corner because special teams clearly not
How
his thing.
how fast is Upton? Because maybe that's the secret or why they went for him.
He ran a 4.44 40. That's
I
pretty
mean,
fast.
pretty damn fast. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, I like his attitude from the phone call thing, even though it seemed like he was also a little confused about who he was talking to each time. But
that's so common. I feel like
yeah,
every draft, I've heard people say "Thank you, Coach" to John Lynch. Sometimes they think Kyle Shanahan's the owner. They don't know who the hell Jed York is. Like they're probably just like so many people
I
they've met. There's just so much going on.
I can only imagine the emotions and everything. So yeah, you're allowed to make mistakes in that moment.
Yeah, he just kept saying, "Let's do it, let's
Yeah,
do it, let's
but
do it."
I like you can just hear like that, conviction or whatever in the voice. Like you can tell he's ready. He's fired up. So I do like that. Hopefully he's got the right mentality.
I feel like he does. At that size, you're gonna play corner. Like you've got to have that dog in you.
Yeah.
Like he probably epitomizes. It's not the size of the dog in the fight; it's the size of the fight in the dog. He's probably got that. Let's hope. Um, okay, my favorite pick of the draft,
Oh.
pick 113, CJ West. I wanted the Niners to pick him at 75. I wanted them to pick him at 100. Going into day 3 of the draft, I was looking on ESPN's like best available, and I had to go like 2 pages to even find him. I'm like, is CJ West really rated this low? And then the Niners just picked him at 113. I was super excited. The DJ Jones comp has gotten thrown around a lot. Let's see. So I guess he played at Kent State for most of his career and then moved to Indiana. So let's see. In 2020, I'll just do his recent years. 2023, third team All MAC, started 12 games, 40 tackles, 7 TFLs, 2 sacks. 2024, honorable mention, All Big Ten Conference, played in 13 games, 10 starts, 42 tackles, 7 TFLs, 2 sacks, a PBU, and a forced fumble. Um, from what I understand about this guy, like he's a little small, but he's got a lot of leverage, and he knows how to use it because he gets under guys and he throws them around. And if you watch it, like a little 4 or 5 minute highlight reel of him, he looks like a man amongst boys. Like he's got just a really strong upper body. He's throwing linemen to the left, to the right, just throwing them off him and making plays in the backfield. So to me, this is like the perfect complement to Alfred Collins, like a pass rusher guy who can also play the run, and then you got Collins just eating up double teams like Tic Tacs. I think this is going to be a really nice. The Niners could go from having like a crap D line to one of the better D lines in one offseason.
Just with a
That'd be
bunch of
amazing if they
rookies,
pulled
huh?
it off. Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, remember when free agency was happening and everybody thought that the empire was crumbling down? It was like, let's just wait and see what happens in the like the. I mean, look, a thing that looked like a position of potential weakness is now potentially. We don't know. We have
Yeah,
no idea
and
how
and
they're
they
going
still
to be.
need depth. It's not like these guys are going to start every snap of the game. So
Right, right.
who's coming in with these guys? Um,
That's where my boy Givens. Come on.
yeah, Kevin Givens, Evan Anderson. I think
Yeah.
like they got Gross Matos. So
Actually, I think Gross Matos, like, with getting Michael, for whatever reason, makes me like having Gross Matos even more. Like, I feel like they could be somewhat interchangeable,
yeah,
and be fresh.
yeah, Gross Matos had some good plays last year. Maybe, um, I mean, you could probably do either one. You could do Michael or Gross Matos slides inside on third and longs, and Big Alfred Collins just goes up and bear hugs two offensive linemen. um,
But yeah, I mean, so I know you were excited about CJ West.
I just thought it was great value.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm good with that, and I loved the commitment to the defensive draft. Still, like first 5 picks, all defense. Like I got to think that there was some promises made to Saleh when he came back. Like, hey, we're gonna get you some pieces. We're gonna get you some clay to mold. So here you go.
I think I saw that it was the first draft since 1981 for the Niners where they just went 5 straight defensive players.
That turned out pretty good when
I
they
think
did
that
that.
draft went well if I
Yeah.
remember right. Watched it. Um, all right, first offensive player, Jordan Watkins, wide receiver out of Mississippi, 5'11", 196. Let's see, in 2023, he played 13 games, 53 catches, 740 yards, 3 touchdowns. Had surgery on his right hand during the bye week. 2024 led the team with 9 touchdowns, 49 catches, 900 yards, 18.5 yard average. Wow. In 12 games with 8 starts. So I'm gonna be honest. I did a lot of research on the draft before this draft. Listened to a lot of people talk. As someone who does dynasty, I pay attention to wide receivers and running backs and all the skill positions. Never heard of this guy.
Yeah.
Didn't know anything about him, but he's a Niner.
So same, and I pay a lot less attention than you do, so it doesn't mean anything for me to say never heard of him. But going off of the measurables, going off of the positional need and everything, I did not like this pick. He could turn out to be great. Um, I'm not saying that he's a bust or anything. I just feel like they had other needs
Mm-hmm.
that they could have and should have addressed. Like it feels like an undersized wide receiver like this is a luxury pick. Like when you're trying to look for some sort of gadget player or weapon or whatever that you can use in very specific situations. Maybe that's what they have planned for him. Maybe they think he's got more potential than he's shown and they're going to catch everybody off guard with him. I don't know,
I
but
think he might be a little bigger than you think. He's 5'11", 196.
uh,
Do you consider that undersized?
yes, for a
Oh, you
wide
do?
receiver, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
I
All right,
want
fair enough.
I want my wide receiver 6'2" or taller unless they're just going to absolutely fly. But
Well, okay, you say that. He had a 4.37 40.
so that I'm cool with that.
He's a burner.
Yeah.
And I think the Niners said, Kyle or John said they like him on special teams. So to me,
Honestly,
this is probably going to be our punt and kick returner.
and that's fine. And a bit like I started this by saying I don't know much about him, so I'm also not saying that he's bad or a bust or whatever. I'm just evaluating it from what I think they need, and I feel like they could have used this pick more wisely, in my opinion.
I agree. I think there's probably other positions and other players they could have picked. Uh, I'd have to go look at the board and see who was available, which I'm not going to do. But
Yeah.
I, I don't know. This was a guy they probably could have gotten in the 7th round, honestly.
But hopefully he's good in space. Hopefully it's not just a straight line burner guy. I mean, obviously he's really fast. If he's good in space, if he's got any shiftiness to him, that could be real dangerous in Kyle's offense because he schemes guys open. Not like every play, but he's gonna put him in positions where he can get the ball with some space. And if he's got that speed with some quickness, because those are two different things, if he can do both, then this might be wonderful.
We'll
And
see.
I feel like I did read something that he's pretty sure-handed.
Shit, I hope so. You play wide receiver.
Well, I know, but we see all the time that there's wide receivers that, I mean, would
I don't know.
you, as much as we love Debo, would you consider Debo sure-handed?
No.
So, there's a lot of good, successful wide receivers in the NFL that I wouldn't label as sure-handed. And so, once again, it's just going off of stuff I've read online. Don't know, not making that judgment for myself. We'll see what he becomes, but somewhere I saw something that said he's got good hands. So,
Good to know. All right, Kyle Shanahan has officially entered the draft room. It's time
Yeah.
to get a running back. Pick 147. Salah's had enough fun. What's my turn?
Yep.
Give me Jordan James, running back out of Oregon, 5'9", 205. Second team All Big Ten Conference, led the team with 1,267 yards on 233 carries. That's 5.5 yards per, 15 touchdowns. Started all 14 games. Also caught 26 balls for 209 yards. Um, Again, as someone who kind of follows skill position guys, this guy was not really on my radar. But the Niners seem to know how to get production out of mid-level running backs. So I'm hoping this guy's just, to me, looking at kind of his combine and some of his highlights, like I get Elijah Mitchell vibes.
Smaller though, right? You said 5'9"?
Yeah, a little smaller, rounded, maybe 5 pounds lighter, 0 career fumbles. That to me I was like, oh, Elijah Mitchell.
I like that.
This
I
guy
like
hangs on to the ball.
yeah. I think also there was something about him being a good pass catching back. Maybe that was just something that Kyle said, like in their phone call or whatever, because I was watching all of those when I had a chance. But if that's what they're thinking, that this is a guy that's got some versatility. Also, apparently I think they also talk about him picking up blitzes, like that's something that he takes pride in. Um, so good, good stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's almost like something where you just accept that at some point they're going to draft a running back, and it's probably going to be a running back that is not very heralded or whatever, and we just got to hope that Kyle and all of his team know what they're doing more so than we do, and that he's going to be a good fit.
And it's hard to trust them with running backs too, because when you think about all the guys they've drafted, it's like, boy, they haven't really hit on running backs.
No,
They're
it
so good
hasn't.
at getting production out of backs, but they just can't draft them.
It hasn't been a very successful run of the running backs that they've drafted. I mean, I feel like Garindo, jury's still out, and there's promising early
Big time.
returns, but like I think I'm higher on Elijah Mitchell than most everybody, and even I can't say that that was a hit. It was not a miss. It was somewhere in between. you
Mm-hmm.
know. I think because of where they got him, I would give them more credit and say that that was more of a hit than a miss. But yeah, I mean, you just look back at the running backs that they've brought in, and it's like there's not a lot of success stories other than McCaffrey. It's almost like they're better with the undrafted guys like Breida,
Well, they are. It's
Mason.
not even almost. They just are.
Yeah, yeah. So quit
Yeah, I
drafting
mean,
guys.
Elijah Mitchell's probably the best running back they've drafted because Ty Davis Price and Sermon did very little.
Yep,
Joe Williams did nothing.
nothing.
And Isaac Garendo he hasn't really done anything other than make a couple explosive plays and then get hurt. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Jordan James is RB2 next year. Like Garendo really hasn't really impressed me that much. So
Hmm.
I'm hoping I think he is a really good pass catcher. Pass catching option as a running back. So he's got that. And he's clearly explosive. But he also runs into his own lineman more than he hits the hole. So
Hmm.
if Jordan James can just hit the hole and gain 4 or 5 yards, he's probably got a leg up on Garendo.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. Okay. Safety, Marquise Siegel, Kansas State, 5'11", 200 pounds. 2023 honorable mention All Big 12 conference, tied for the team lead with 63 tackles. 2024 led the team with 3 interceptions, started all 13 games, 60 tackles, 6.5 TFLs, 3 picks, 1 for a touchdown, 3 PBUs, and of course, team captain. Niners love bringing in team captains. This was the pick that they got from the Vikings in the Jordan Mason trade. Obviously, we know Mustafa's got a knee, so Marquise is going to compete with a couple of old heads for a starting spot. Don't know anything about him other than what I just read to you.
Yeah, me neither. And I don't mind them taking a safety later in the draft. I mean, it it doesn't feel like a position of strength, so get some depth.
He ran a 4.37 40.
I love that.
Whoa, he's fat, and he had a 38-inch vert.
Yeah, that's good.
His athleticism score on NFL.com is 84, which was ranked third in his position. Dude's an athlete.
Well, like having athletes.
That's key to good football. I'm sure Tom Brady, I guess.
Yeah. So anyways, I don't mind it. I don't love it either. You know what I mean? Like it just, yeah, we've,
He's a fifth-round pick from a John Lynch era. This could be a Pro Bowler we're talking about here.
that's true.
This
This
guy
could
can make
be.
a sneaky All-Pro. Who knows? Um. All right. Maybe my least favorite pick of this entire draft.
Uh-oh. I thought we already had that, but okay, go ahead.
Uh, I didn't really care for the Jordan Watkins pick or the Upton Stout pick. They were okay, but I just don't like this pick. Quarterback Curtis Rourke out of
Oh,
Indiana, 6'4", 220. He's a big kid, and everything I've heard about him is positive. Like he's just awesome guy, the type of guy you want to date your daughter. Smart, hardworking, just all that. It's like, okay, what about football playing? Is he good at that? I don't know. He was okay, I guess. In 2024, he had second team All Big Ten Conference, set the school record with 29 touchdowns, ranked eighth in the FBS and completion percentage. 29 picks to five INTs. Played through a torn ACL. He's tough guy. I
so
just
yeah, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No,
Well,
you
I was
go
just
ahead.
gonna say like they got Brock and you got Mac for 2 years and you've got Tanner Mordecai and I get Tanner Mordecai is just nothing. So if you're drafting Curtis Rourke because you're thinking we're gonna get this guy for 4 years and he's gonna be our backup, just like when they drafted Purdy, we got Trey Lance. Trey's gonna be our starter, and we're gonna get a long-term cheap backup in Brock Purdy. The Niners on that team with Trey in 2022 when they drafted, the Niners were freaking stacked. That team was so good. You can spend a late pick on a backup quarterback. This team needs help. They could have taken another linebacker. They could have taken another offensive lineman, another running back I wouldn't have been mad at, another defensive tackle. Like they could have gone a number of different directions here. And instead they were like, we're going to take a quarterback who not only isn't going to play his rookie year because he's still dealing with his knee injury. We already have our backup quarterback set in Mac Jones. So the Niners maybe Mac only sees 1 year of his 2 year contract and then works to back up next year. So you're spending a draft pick on a guy you're going to redshirt at a position where you've already got some solid depth. Why?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the only thing I can think of is the size when you're talking about like he's a big
Yeah.
guy.
What
So
someone
maybe
asked Kyle what he liked about him. He's like, "Well, he's a big kid." That was the first thing he said. I was like, "Okay, he's
so
big."
so maybe they're like, hey, look, he's the best value at this point of the draft. Yeah, maybe not the biggest need, but the best value, and we like him. He's got traits that fit our offense, whatever. So let's get him in here. Let's see if we can coach him up and see what we think of him, and then you can put those measurables to work, as a backup or whatever. I, I agree with you that it seems like they could have used that pick to address other needs, and you named off a few of the positions. I was hoping they were going to get more O linemen than they got out of this draft, and I was Mr. Defense going into this, but I was expecting to have at least one O lineman before they were, done with the third round. um,
Dude, they could have drafted a kicker right here, and I would have been like, okay, they got Moody's replacement in
yeah,
the seventh round, whatever. I would have been less bothered by that pick than drafting this quarterback.
it does feel like um, a luxury when
Yeah.
we shouldn't be thinking about luxuries at this point.
Now, if this guy was healthy and he came in and just beat out Mac Jones, and the Niners traded or cut Mac Jones, I would say, okay, that's fine. But they came out and said, like, no, he's injured. He's basically just going to redshirt this whole year. It's like,
So he'd be
Well,
a
then you could have drafted the
practice
cheap.
squad guy. Yeah.
Yeah, you could have drafted the cheap 4-year backup next year. Why'd you do it right now?
I mean, yeah, they probably could have signed this guy as an undrafted free agent, unless they knew he wouldn't come to them unless they drafted him. You know, I don't know, but
Yeah. Well, not great value there. Don't like the pick. I love this next pick though. Pick 249, guard. Finally, Connor Colby, Iowa, 6'5", 309, 309 pounds. He was a All-American his freshman year, third team All Big Ten Conference in 2023. 13 starts at right guard in 2024. First team All Big Ten, started 13 games at right guard. So this guy's either going to come in and beat out Ben Barch for left guard, or the Niners are going to slide Pooney to left and this guy's going to play right guard. I'm not sure. My guess is this guy's going to compete for left guard. And my guess is he's going to win it. I think the Niners just got their starting left guard in the 7th round for the next 4 years. I think this might be my second favorite pick, honestly, behind
behind West.
CJ
Okay,
West as
all
far as
right.
value is concerned. I really like this pick.
Hmm. Um,
I just
I'm
trust big corn-fed white Midwest guards.
I'm just glad they finally took an O lineman. So yes, I was happy just for that reason.
I know,
But
seriously.
no, I agree with you. Like, I mean, coming out of Iowa, like you know that he's coming from a good run scheme. You know, I feel like he's gonna translate to what the Niners want to do, in my opinion. Um, yeah, big guy, like good size. If he's got the athleticism, um, thank goodness they finally got one. I sure wish they would have got one more sooner.
What do you? One of the things the Niners do a lot, and they're usually pretty good at planning ahead for this. Whether they hit on it or not is a different story. But they're good at seeing the guys on their team who are going to be moving on, and they draft their replacement a year early.
Mm-hmm.
We can go through a number of examples. So when I'm looking at the 49ers current roster, you've got Trent Williams, who's older and starting to get more and more banged up. And you've got McKivitz at right tackle, who's only got 1 year left on his deal. And his backup just got $15 million per season. So I doubt McKivitz is sticking around. And I doubt they're going to pay him to keep him. Pay him to keep him. So I thought I was convinced the Niners were going to take a tackle at some point in this draft to sit and just learn and get ready for next season. And they didn't. So in your opinion, do you think that's just a mistake by them, or do you think that there's someone on the team right now that we don't know about that they're like, this is going to be our future right tackle?
I think it could mean a lot of things, obviously, but what it tells me is they didn't think that there was a tackle worthy of them picking, like where they had a draft pick and who was available. I know I'm not saying it well, but I think you get my point, which is they didn't want to overreach for certain guys. Who knows how they even felt about the top tackles? Like, if who was the first tackle off the board? Was it
Will
was it
Campbell.
Will Campbell? I thought so. So if Will Campbell or Mimbu was there at 11, do they still draft Michael Williams, or do they
That's a good
consider
question.
those guys better value because one of them slid? I don't know. Um,
The other thing I've heard is, when the Niners say they wanted to trade up for Michael Williams, do you believe them? Did they try and trade up with the Saints to get Kelvin Banks?
oh man, I hope not, but
I
I
know.
don't know.
I'm just glad. Either way, I'm glad they did not trade up.
The other thing it makes me think, Ryan, like I don't know what next year's tackle class looks like, if it's a position of strength or if it's there's hardly anybody, but maybe they're thinking the guy that they really want is going to come out next year. Maybe they're eyeing some free agents to be, or guys that they think, I don't know who, because any tackle worth their salt, the team's not going to let him go, like the tackles that make it to free agency, they're either old or they've got major flaws, because anybody that's like a really good tackle. So who knows? Maybe they gonna put together some sort of trade package and get somebody great. I don't know.
Kyle inherited Joe Staley, got so lucky he was able to get Trent Williams because of the situation that Trent was in. He essentially chose the Niners. The Niners have not proven that they can select and develop a tackle. They've
Mm-mm.
gotten lucky really twice at
Mm-hmm.
left tackle, and right tackle has been subpar for quite some time because Mike McGlinchey was okay at best.
Yeah.
So if there's a guy that they like next year, I mean, even that is a projection because you don't know what his senior year is going to be like, or his next year, however he plays. Maybe he gets hurt, maybe he's no good, maybe you can't get him because you're drafting later than you thought after you win games, and then it's like, are you going to start a rookie at right tackle or left tackle? Kyle doesn't like to start rookies unless he really has to. So
I mean,
I don't know.
honestly, I do kind of feel like they're going to try to target somebody, whether that's a free agent or that is trying to make a move for somebody that they really like and use all that draft capital that they have, because you're absolutely right. They haven't developed any stud tackles like in their time, and they haven't had to your point, right? They went from one um potential Hall of Famer to a bona fide Hall of
No
Famer.
doubt Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty nice. And it just makes me wonder if that's their plan. Like, hey, look, we're not going to waste our time trying to, take shots and draft a left tackle that's a franchise. Yeah, it's great if you hit, but there's also all those misses. I mean, I wonder if McGlinchey kind of scared him off of that, because he seemed, at the time, like the ideal pick. I thought, at least, like just the pedigree where he came from, his size, his athleticism. He's supposed to be good in the run game, which he was. He was better in run blocking than he was with pass protection. And you used a top 10 pick on that guy. And like you said, he was just okay. And so it's kind of like, maybe you don't use the premier picks on those guys unless you just luck into a no doubt certified, like, this is a stud and we have a high enough pick that we can get him. Otherwise, you try to get, you know, the guys that have already been developed a little bit, and hopefully it doesn't cost you too much to do it.
Kyle did, but Kyle and Mike Shanahan, they did draft Trent Williams. So if the right guy's there high enough, I guess they will pick him.
Sure.
And I forgot the other thing I was gonna say. Okay, they have one more draft pick. Junior Bergen, pick 252, Montana wide receiver, 5'9", 184 pounds. Don't even have any like little stats here for him. There's literally nothing listed. Never heard of this guy in my life. But
This was the undersized guy that I was thinking of when I got it confused with the other receiver that they drafted. Although I do still want my receiver bigger than 5'11". But this was
six
the
foot
guy.
and higher, 6 foot, 200 pounds plus.
Yeah, this is the guy that that I was like, why? Like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, dude, take a stab on another guard.
Yeah,
Like find some center from like North Dakota State or something
yeah,
and develop him. Yeah, I don't know. This guy is no disrespect to this guy. I'm sure he's watching, but like,
yeah,
why? I don't know.
yeah.
Um,
He could be great. He might be the steal of the draft, right? We have
he's
no
the next
idea.
Jawan Jennings.
Yeah, but no, he won't be Juwan with that size. I'm sorry to
No, yeah,
say.
no. Maybe production, but at best production, not size. And then I'll just quickly run through these. The Niners signed 6 undrafted free agents. Linebacker Stone Blanton from Mississippi State. Wide receiver Isaiah Nayer from Nebraska. 6'3", 210. There you go. There's some size.
That's better.
Defensive back Jacob Robinson, BYU. 5'10", 165. Niners are getting little guys.
He's slender.
11 interceptions. Defensive lineman Sebastian Valdez from UW, 6'4", 305. Offensive lineman Drew Moss from Colorado, 6'4", 300. Started all his games at guard. Running back, this guy's going to be a stud, an undrafted free agent running back. Corey
Yep.
Kiner out of Cincinnati, 5'10", 215. And last year he rushed for 1,153 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Yep. Undrafted running back going to a Shanahan team. Mark it down. He's going to be leading the team in rushing in 3 years.
And then I didn't even really know teams did this, but they teams also invite players to just come try out at minicamp.
Mm.
So they invited tight end Bentley Hanshaw, who we all know, of course, from Liberty, linebacker Tristan Sinclair from Stanford. John Lynch got his Stanford guy. Defensive back Jack Howell from Colorado State. Defensive end Ty French from West Virginia. So that's pretty cool. Those guys have an opportunity to just essentially be an NFL walk-on. Just go try out.
That is cool.
So, last question before we end this thing. What was you think your favorite draft pick and your least favorite draft pick? I don't remember
Right.
if you said them, but
I mean, I don't want to be lame and say my favorite was the first and my least favorite was the last, but that is kind of how I feel. Like, I was the most excited about Michael Williams. It's hard to get past that. I just feel like best value for where they were at, and I think he's gonna be the biggest difference maker of everybody that they got. So yeah, he's my favorite pick. Sorry, I know it's lame. Um,
no, I get it.
least favorite for me is either between the second receiver that they drafted that is tiny, or um, or the small running back,
Jordan James.
Jordan James. So those are my least favorite picks. I just feel like you don't need those guys. You've got plenty of weapons on this team right now. Maybe you are thinking ahead. Maybe they already know that Jawan's going to be gone and McCaffrey only has a few years left and all that. So maybe they're just saying we got to give ourselves as many chances with as many guys as possible. I understand that logic, but man, it just feels like you could have used something. And like, so you know from our text chain, I was high on the center from Georgia, Jared Wilson. Like I wanted them to get him a couple times, and they only missed him by 5 picks at pick 100 because he went like 95. And I don't know that he's gonna be a star or whatever, but like if you told me, and maybe the Patriots wouldn't go for this, but if you told me that you would have given up pick 100 to move up to pick 95, and plus you would have thrown in the pick that turned into Jordan James,
Two, or even just 252, the very last seventh round pick. You're
sure,
only moving up 5 spots in the
right.
third
And
round. Like,
yeah, so if you told me that I could give you those two guys with what they did with the pick, and I could have instead got the best center in the draft that is apparently an ideal fit for, a zone running team, and oh, by the way, he's not Brindle. So, like, I mean, that would have made me just love this draft, and it's too bad because they had, you know, I'm not saying they should have got him over Nick Martin, but I also think that you
I wouldn't
probably
have been mad if they did.
you probably could have got Wilson at 75 and then got Nick Martin at 100. That's my guess.
There was also a bunch of small, fast linebackers in this draft that went on day 3. Like, there was a couple guys like Kobe King I liked, Eugene Asante I liked. Um, there was one other guy I liked. They all went late on day 3. You could have gotten your small, fast, undersized linebacker and taken the center at pick 75 or whatever. So
But that still doesn't address the tackle, which, we're just putting a lot of eggs in the Trent Williams and McKivitz stay healthy and play well basket.
Trent Williams is playing till he's 40. Apparently, honestly, it's McKivitz is the one I'm worried about. Like, he's the lesser player, and he's going to be gone next year. They need the next right tackle even before they need the next left tackle.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
I
go
would
ahead.
just say my
What's
favorite pick was C.J. West.
yeah.
I really like the Alfred. I liked all 3 of the defensive lineman picks,
Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't have been mad if they'd picked another one. But I would say C.J. West is my favorite because of where they got him, and I would say my least favorite picks was the quarterback. I didn't. I mean, I already explained it earlier. I don't really get it. Even the first wide receiver they drafted, like, don't get it. He's fast. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess he's fast. Jacob Cowing's fast. He's already on the team. So like Jacob Cowing, like, you're on notice, by the way. They just drafted another fourth round wide receiver who's fast.
Yeah.
You're on notice, bud.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
I feel like coming out of the whole thing, I like the draft. I don't love it, but I feel more favorable about it than unfavorable. And I think a lot of that is just because of the philosophy, like that they obviously took what they're trying to do. I'm good with that. I don't know that these guys are all going to turn out or whatever, but yeah, like you said, the first three picks, I'm really good with. I don't know about Stout. We'll see. Um, and then also, yeah, like that they got West. Um, I like the guard that they got. So there's a lot to like. There's a lot of things that I feel positive about, and then there's other things that I'm just like, I I don't get it, but I don't need to get it as long as you guys know what you're doing.
Hopefully they get it.
Yep.
All right. Let's call it right there. Um, Hopefully Jason's feeling better and we could get his thoughts on everybody on the next one.
Yep. Very good. All right. Later.
All right. See ya.